Thank you, everybody, for joining. Today, we'll do a webinar on the Argos Advanced Reporting Tool. My name is Ali Al-Abbasi. I'm Director of Business Development. I've been with Argos Software for about 5 years. I came through the acquisition when Friedman Operating Group bought Argos Software. If you haven't spoken to me before, my contact information will be at the end of the presentation, and please feel free to give me a call or send me an email, and I'll be happy to speak to you about art and anything else that you want to speak about. I also have Stephen Livingston with me. Stephen is my pre-sales consultant. I'll let him introduce himself. Stephen.
Hi, everyone. I've been working with Argos for about 5 years now. Before that, I was the logistics manager for a large horticultural company. I've been creating reports with report writing tools for about 30 years, and I continue to learn a lot.
Today, we'll be talking about ART. ART's our new reporting tool. It stands for Advanced Reporting Tool. We built this tool as a requirement from a newly acquired customer in 2019 that was very heavy in reporting and wanted a lot more flexibility. So as you'll find when you see this presentation, ART does have some significant advantages in the user interface and in the way you're able to access data from anywhere inside the ABECAS Insight schema, as well as from external data sources. Stephen will be showing you, talking to you about the advantages in detail. He'll be showing you how to edit the report. He'll be showing you how to create a new report, and then showing you how to link a spreadsheet. Linking a spreadsheet is just one way that you can pull in external data and join it into ART so that you can slice and dice data from multiple sources. Doesn't have to be a spreadsheet. It could be an Oracle database. It could be a MySQL database. It could be another SQL Server database. Anything with an ODBC data source can be pulled in so that you can share information and report from multiple systems, not just from ABECAS Insight. And that's one of the true powers of ABECAS, of the ART tool. The other benefit is that now that you've unlocked all the fields inside the ABECAS Insight schema, you don't have to seek development assistance in modifying reports. You can modify these reports yourself, and you don't have to wait for a new release to get the changes. You should be able to make the modifications yourself and see the changes right away. So that's the other key benefit that you'll see by using ART over the existing reporting tool. So quick question for everybody. How many of you are familiar with using the ABECAS Insight reporting tool and the existing report builder? Good. So we have a good mix of people. Some people have never used it before, some of that fairly familiar, and some are very, very strong users. So I guess it's a mix of 50-50 between users and non-users around. Okay, excellent. So I think you'll find this presentation beneficial. With that, Stephen, I'm going to hand over the presentation to you. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and let you take over.
So what is the Advanced Reporting Tool? It's a modern report writing tool that enables you to design and deliver powerful reports with intuitive, reliable, and user-friendly report designers and controls. It replaces ABECAS Insight 8's Report Builder. ART comes as a separate module that is available for purchase and is part of the ABECAS suite of modules. So what are its advantages? It's a much more modern report writing tool and much easier to use. Produces better looking reports. It easily exports to everyday file formats such as PDF, XLS, CSV, text, etc. It has the ability to edit a current report and add fields not in the list to choose from, which is a huge advantage over the present report writer. The power of ART is that it exposes the SQL to the report so that users can build or modify their own queries and can retrieve any piece of information in the ABECAS Insight schema, and even join to external tables and data sources. Some SQL knowledge will be needed to navigate the database, or professional services can be used to help with building the initial SQL if needed, from which you could build many reports. So as we mentioned, it has the ability to join to and include data from many other sources, such as SQL files not related to ABECAS, Oracle databases, Access, Excel files, CSV files, SQL views, and much more. It has standard drag and drop controls for report building, such as barcode and many others. It has many other great features, such as the undo always works. You can delete any fields instead of having to hide them. It has a snap grid line, has features that allow for rapid report creation, easy grouping and sorting of data, and easily add barcodes with all the latest formats. So now we're going to go through a demo. We're going to edit a current art report in ABECAS. We're going to create a new report from scratch, and we're going to link to a spreadsheet. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come into our our inventory management module to item codes and reports, and we're going to choose this RT item codes. Now, any reports that start with RT are designed using the new art tool. Without purchasing the art module, you can edit any of these reports and save them. However, unless you purchase art, you cannot change the base query or SQL, which is where a lot of the power of the art tool is. This means you cannot add any fields that are not already in the report, and you cannot link to any other data source. So I am going to load up this macro and this report. And what I'm going to do is a preview, which will show you the item codes that we are working with for this demo. So I created some items so that we could use them in this demo and create reports from them. So these are the ones we have. And in this scenario, what I want to do is add a unit of measure field here and a preferred location. So I am going to go into this report, and instead of editing it, I'm going to create a new report. Which is just copies the old report, but allows me to make changes without changing the original one. And we're going to look at the field list here. Now, before I go further, what I want to do is come over to ABECAS to our item code file. And in our item code file, I have a couple fields that I've labeled unit of measure and preferred location. Now, in order to put those fields into my report, I need to know the SQL names for these reports. So if I click or just mouse over that, don't click, but mouse over that name, it shows me the SQL name for those. So it's IAM item user defined reference 10 and IAM item user defined reference 6. So those are the fields that I'm going to be looking for in my report. So we'll come back here and look at our field lists here. And if I come down here, I see only user defined reference 1 through 5. I need 6 and 10. So I am going to come to the base query of this report, which is where the SQL script is that brings these fields so that I can use them. And I'm going to just look here and see what we have. So here we have user-defined reference up to user-defined reference 5. Now I know IAM item has more user-defined reference fields. They're just not listed in here. So I'm going to add that. And I'm going to just change that to 6 and to 10. I'm going to save that, come out, go back in. Now, if I look at our field list, I should see them in there. So there we have user-defined reference 10 and user-defined reference 6. So I am going to just put those right into my report here. And there's user-defined reference 10. Put that in. Notice how this snaps. Put another label here. And there we have it. So now we'll save that, come out, find that report here, and preview it. And there it is. Now we have our unit of measure and our preferred location. So now I'm going to come out of here, and I am going to go into the art tool itself, launcher for art, and here we're going to create a report from scratch. So I'm going to create it from the standard ABECAS. So this comes when you purchase the art tool. It comes with this report with just a few fields here. So I'm going to customize, and I'm going to create new, and I'm going to call it item report demo. And now it will load that up. So if I look at our field list, we just have those few fields. And if I look into our base query, we have some really simple script which we don't need. So I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to bring up some script here that I wrote for this demo. And basically, all it's doing is giving me the fields I want to see in my report. So I'm getting them mainly from the IM item file. I am also linking to the inventory file down here and warehouse. As you can see here, you can name your fields differently than they are named in the SQL, just by saying as and the new name that you want. You don't have to do that. So I am going to copy this. And we'll go back to the base query here. One thing that I have found, if you're not familiar with SQL, if you look at the SQL script that's in art reports that come with ABECAS, you can learn a lot about SQL, and that will help you potentially in doing this, working with this. So I'm going to save that. We're going to exit out, and we're going to exit right out to the main menu, come back in again. This enables us that when we choose the report, we should see the fields on the left-hand side so that we can create a range if we want. So I'm going to choose the report we just created. You see the fields now have changed to the ones we just did. I'm going to put this here in my range to limit the items that we see, and then I'm going to edit that. Now I'm going to go to our field list, and there we have our fields. So the first thing I'm going to do is right-click here, and I'm going to insert a band line for a page header. I'm going to put in a label for my report. This will be a title. And I will pull that, make that a little bigger, center. Move that up, and now I am going to add some page information. So this will be page number. I'll just say page. And I'm going to bring another page information here. And this will be a current date and time. Center that. Okay, so now I need to put my headers and my fields in there. So I'm going to come over to the field list, and I'm going to control and click the fields that I want in the order in which I want them listed. That brings over my headers, and I'm going to left click, and that brings in the fields. I am going to convert to labels, which makes them so I can deal with them individually. And then we're going to reduce the size of these, because I'm going to add in a field here. I'm going to create a calculated field that is the total of these two. So I'm going to say add calculated field, and I want it to be available plus ordered. Say okay. I'm going to bring that in here. Bring my label in. And I'm going to call that total. I'm going to justify that. Make that a little smaller. Okay, so now, while I'm at it, I will move this over, make that a bit smaller. And move this over. And notice the snap grid. Now I'm going to create a group or a sort. I want to group and sort by subclass code and then by description. I want my subclass code to have a header and a footer. I don't want that for my description. So now let's put a header area here. I'm going to bring subclass code over and put it in here. I'm going to make it, so this is going to be like a header for similar items that come under it. I'm going to reduce that, and I'm going to reduce my detail line here. Now I want to create some total fields here. So I'm putting a line in, and now I am going to bring in these fields here, ordered, available, and my calculated field. And now if I click here under summary, I'm going to say group. And so that's going to sum in the summary. And then here, group, and group. And then I am going to control these 6 fields, and I'm going to make it so that the number doesn't have any decimals. That should do that. Now I am going to reduce the space here, like that. And I'm going to save that. And now let's take a look. We will exit here, and we'll do a preview. So there we have it. Our total unit of measure, preferred location, it's totaling. So yeah, everything looks good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add one more piece of information to this that we're going to get from a spreadsheet. So I'll exit here. I'm going to show you this spreadsheet, which has our item codes here and vendors here. So what I want to do is add the vendor to my report, and I want to get the vendor information out of this spreadsheet instead of getting it out of ABECAS. So first thing I have to do is close this report, and I have to go to SQL Server. Now, if you have ABECAS, you have SQL Server because ABECAS runs on SQL Server. So what we're going to do here is we go to Server Objects, Linked Servers, and I'm going to say New Linked Server. And the linked server name will be Excel item. My provider is going to be Microsoft Office Access. The product name is Excel. The data source is the exact path and name of the Excel file. And lastly, the provider string is some characters, etc., that are needed. So I've got all that in. I'm going to click OK, and there we go. It's in. So now we're going to go back into this report. Now, in order to add that Excel spreadsheet data, I have to change my SQL script. So I am going to show you this script, which I wrote, which is the same script as you saw before, only we've added excel.vendor here because that's the field that I want to add. And I have a join here to the Excel file, and it's joining via the item code, or the item code and the Excel code are the same. So I am going to copy this. We're going to go to our base query. And we'll put in the new base query. Save that. Come out. Go back in again. Now, if we look at our field list, we see vendor in there. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to put that right there. And we will add a header. Bold that and save it. And let's preview that. Takes a little longer when it accesses the Excel spreadsheet. So there we are. We've got our vendor in there and everything else. And we can export that to Excel if we want, way simpler than it was in the old report writer. And there we are, into Excel. So that concludes the demos. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A or chat functions to ask. And thank you very much for watching.
You know, as you can see, I mean, the system is a lot more flexible than it was in the with the old system, and you can pull information from multiple data sources. We do have a question that came up. As far as costs go, this is a question from one of the participants. The costs are all dependent on the size of your installation, so I can look at your account and give you pricing. I'm happy to do that for everybody, and I'll reach out to you and discuss that as well. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for your time again. If you have any more questions, just either send me an email or give me a call on 972-715-0332. I appreciate your time, and we'll be putting this recording up in the next couple of days for you to listen to and share it with your colleagues. Thank you.